Colorado is one of the most solid teams in the tournament. Longtime head coach Tad Boyle has built a team that is devoted to doing the little things right. In a lot of ways, they'll remind Florida State fans of recent Virginia teams. They don't turn the ball over, they slow the game down, and they take shots when they're open. The defense is a similar story. They're not going to cause a lot of turnovers, but what they will do is force you into long possessions and make you take shots you do not want to take. Let's take a quick look at what they do to accomplish this remarkable consistency. Offensively, everything flows through number 25, their point guard McKinley Wright. What they like to do is a lot of off-ball motion with cuts and screens that eventually leads to a pick and roll at the top of the key with the shot clock winding down. That's where Wright is at his best. Now, one of the things that's going to immediately stand out to Florida State fans that's reminiscent of the Virginia Cavaliers is how they like to run blocker-mover offense. That's where they have two blockers who tend to be the big men on the court who are setting screens constantly for the movers. Now, these movers are usually coming off pin down screens and flare screens in a circular motion, which is reminiscent to the wheel action that I talked about in my video talking about UNCG. So what Colorado likes to do is if nothing opens up from that blocker mover offense, they will flow into a pick and roll that you see here, and they're very good at distributing it to all of their shooters on the court. Now here's another common action they do, and this is called continuity ball screen. So continuity ball screen, all it is you'll see a man cut, which leads to a short side pick and roll, or more often more just a dribble handoff, and it's a continuity that goes back and forth. So you'll see it happen on this side of the ball, and then you'll see the same action happen on the other side of the ball where this guy cuts and you see another dribble handoff type action. And that goes back and forth to try to loosen up the defense and hunt for a good shot. Now, every person on the court can shoot for them, which makes them especially dangerous. So when McKinley Wright is able to get some penetration, they can pass it around the perimeter, and virtually everybody is a threat from out there. One of the biggest differences, though, between them and Virginia is they will actually press the ball, and it's because McKinley Wright is such a special ball handler. He's also not afraid to shoot on these transition opportunities, and it makes their offense particularly dangerous. Defensively, they play the packline defense, which means their primary goal is to get you as far away from the paint as possible. And you can see that firstly in how they play ball screens. So in this ball screen situation, they're going to do what's called hard hedging, where they come up strong and they force the ball carrier away from the basket. Then you can see their other principles in how they play off ball. So off ball, one pass away, they're going to split the difference between their man and the ball and play in what's called the gap. That discourages any dribble penetration and makes it really hard to get some momentum going towards the basket. See here, this is their ultimate goal, which is to force a difficult three at the end of the shot clock. Now, one way to try to beat this is to run pick and rolls and try to hit the roller quickly. So you see that here, they've come up to hard hedge, and immediately this roll man is going to be open. Now, the way that packline teams like to defend this is they like to have someone called a tagger whose responsibility it is to cover the roll man. In this situation, it's the point guard here, McKinley Wright, and he just is a little bit too slow in getting over there, and this is a good opportunity to get that penetration they want to discourage. Now, if you do try to get the ball in through a post-up, like Georgetown does here, they will do everything they can to make this not a favorable look. So you can see that the off-ball players are kind of cheating towards the post-up. This is a packline team's worst nightmare, to give up a post-up look. And here, if you try to force it too hard, you can see what happens. The Georgetown center just doesn't have a good look. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind here is because they're so devoted to trying to make this shot difficult, that really opens up outlet passes, and you should see Florida State take a lot more threes this game than they did last time. I do think that if they are able to get the ball inside, Florida State does have a good chance of getting some points in the paint. Valsa Koprivica showed he could play with anybody in the country. One thing Florida State can do is kind of go to these sets that open up the paint a little bit. So here, this dribble handoff motion flows into a ball screen at the top of the key, and just all of this side-to-side motion makes it really hard for Colorado to maintain their gap integrity. And realistically, that's the only reason they're able to get to the line here. Another thing I like is doing these kind of sets that make it harder for the tag man. So this man is responsible for tagging and really responsible for this roll man here. And he gets lost when the roll man then sets a down screen to open up this three-pointer. This is a really pretty set that really takes advantage of Colorado's packline defense. But ultimately, what really is going to matter and how Florida State can win this game is they need to take the shots that they're given. Far too often in the past few games, they've looked way too timid to take their three-point shots. And if they're going to want to beat a team who's as solid as Colorado, they're going to have to pull the trigger. Thanks for tuning in. In the comments below, tell me what you think of this Colorado team and how Florida State can try to attack their defense. Also, check out all of the other great content we have at Tomahawk Nation. Thanks.